This lesson is going to be Intro to Inventor. We're going to take a look at Inventor, starting it up and looking at some of the commands. The commands that we'll be looking at are sketch, line, dimension, extrude, hole, circle, fillet, round, chamfer, polygon, text, and geometry text. And we will be doing this together, so give you time when the time comes to get your drawing all ready to go. Okay, we're going to start off. We start off with the home page. This is what our home page is going to look like. You'll see that we have different sections. We have one new. Okay, and under new we can create parts, assemblies, drawings, presentations. And that's where we'll start our new drawings. And our new drawing, and I keep calling it a drawing, but really when we start off we won't be making a drawing, we'll be making a part. When you're finished the part, then you create a drawing from the part. The next one you'll see there is projects. We'll talk about projects later. Then you'll see the recent documents that we have. So if we go into create a new file, we have an option. We can either make it in English, okay, standards like in inches, or we can put it in metric, in millimeters. We're going to first take a look at inches. We're going to do both in this class. And we start off, we're going to go to start a new sketch. When we start a new sketch, it's going to give us a drawing or a page that looks like the one shown here. Okay, that is our three major planes that we can use. There is the XY plane, the XZ plane, and the YZ plane. You'll see also when we get there, you'll see that we have an origin and we can see our planes there. Also, you'll see that the planes are represented into the cube there, and that matches what our drawing is. Depending on how you're drawing, what you're going to draw, which part of the part, which view of the part determines what plane we're going to start with. For example, if we're going to create the front view, we would use the XY plane. If we were going to create the right side view first, we would do the YZ plane. If we're going to do the top view, we would do the XZ plane. You must draw on one plane at a time. Okay, unlike AutoCAD, you cannot interchange. You'll be drawing on one plane. Even if you have circles in one and you want it in another one, you have to change. You have to make a new sketch and pick that plane. Okay. Again, you'll see that here is our top view, which is the XZ plane. The front view, which is the XY plane. The right side is the YZ plane. And here is our cube. Okay, now we're going to take a look at drawing it in Inventor. Here's our home page. This is where we will start all our drawings. You'll see that we have different areas here. We have new, we have projects, we have recent documents. If we pick right now, we're going to make a new part. That's where we're always going to start. The first thing we need to do is create a part, not a drawing. We need to create the part, which is going to be a 3D representation. If we pick part from here, it's automatically going to pick whatever we had worked on previously. Now, if we've never had this open before and didn't work on anything, it will give us the new menu box. But if we go up here to new, then it will give us our new menu box. So now you'll see that I can pick what template I want to work from. So I can either go to English and inches, or I could go to metric and I could do either standard or sheet metal. Well, we're going to pick English and we're going to pick standard, and then I'll pick create. We start off with a blank screen like this. We can't do anything yet. Okay, what we have to do is we have to go up here to the upper left hand side and we have to say create a new sketch. Okay, there is, like I showed you before in the slide, here are our planes. Here is the XY plane. Here is the YZ plane. and here is the XZ plane. Right now our drawing is set up. It's at home. This is an isometric representation where this XY plane is our front view, this YZ plane is our right view, and this XZ plane is our top view. Also over here we can see each one of these. Here is our representation, which plane we want. Now we're just going to pick the XY plane to start with. You'll notice that over here on this icon it'll tell us this is in the X direction, this is in the X direction, this is in the Y direction. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line. Okay, you'll see down here it'll say select start of line, drag off endpoint for arctangent. Okay, we're just going to pick a spot and we're just going to just drag it. You'll see we get a rubber band. Okay, it will give us some information, like right now mine is 1.971 inches long and it is 25.35 from the horizontal. Okay, we're going to pick a spot anywhere. Okay, so we're just going to pick right here. If I hit enter, after I pick this point, now here is my line here. See that I can highlight it. Okay. If it is not what I want, I can highlight it. I can either right click and pick delete, or I can hit my delete key. So let's delete it. Okay, I'm going to go back to line again. Now I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to go straight across, and notice that if I keep that line straight, it not only looks straight, it's not ragged like that. You'll also see a little symbol there, okay, and that tells us that it is horizontal. Okay, so it is going along the x-axis right now. Okay, so if I make it straight across, then you almost kind of feel it snap into place there, and I click on it. You'll see I've got 0 degrees, and then again you'll see the icon for the perpendicular or parallel or horizontal. Okay, I'll come straight down. Again, if I make it where it is 90 degrees, now you'll see an indication. Okay, the two lines up the top where it's just perpendicular. Okay, you'll also see, of course, a length. So if I click right there, now if I drag it to the left, okay, you'll see an angle, and you will see that I have 0 or 90 degrees. And if I come and just meet up with that top line, you'll see that it creates a dotted line. I'm at 90 degrees. Now that is exactly, okay, perpendicular. So I'll click on that. Now I can just drag it up until I see a green dot, and I can click on there. I can right click and pick OK. So now I've created a rectangle. Okay. Now what I can do is I can take and I can say that I want to draw or finish my sketch here. I can say finish sketch, and there I have my sketch. Now you see that I can't draw anymore. If I go into sketch, okay, I can go to line, but it's going to ask me where I want to make a new sketch from. I can't do anything in here. I'm going to hit escape. Now if I'm not done that sketch, I can go right over here, and you'll see here's my sketch 1 that I created. And if I right click and I pick edit sketch, you'll see that I'm back to where I was before. Okay, that's fine. Now I have a rectangle. I have no idea what the size of that is. Alright, so what I can go do now is I can change these sizes to what I want. That is the beauty of Inventor. You can just sketch out the basic shape first, and then you can give it dimensions later, and it will automatically update for us. To do that, we go up here to where it says dimension. I click on dimension. Now I pick what I want to dimension. If I pick that entire line, you'll see it becomes highlighted, or I can pick the endpoint to the endpoint, or this line, or this endpoint, and that endpoint. I'm just going to pick that entire line. I'm going to drag it up. Now, before I do anything, don't click yet. You'll see that that distance is 0.923. Now, if I click on it, you'll see it's really 0.9231651 inches. Now I'm going to change that to 1.5 and hit enter or the OK. Now you'll see that my number here has changed to 1.5 and my drawing itself has changed. I'm going to pick this side here and I'm going to change that to 2. So I have a rectangle now that's 2 by 1.5. Now I can change that. If I go into here, double click on the 1.5 and make that 2. Double click on the 2 and make that 1.5. Right? Now I've changed that around to the numbers that I want. Again, once I'm done, I pick Finish Sketch. You will see that I have my dimensions there. Now if I were going to make this into a 3D object right now, now I need something in the Y direction. If you notice here, here's the Y direction in this way. Okay, to do that, I make sure I'm in 3D model and I pick Extrude. Now if you only have one thing that can be extruded like we do, it will automatically realize that's what I want. Okay, the default is going to be in this direction, which is in the positive Z direction. Okay, now if I want to give it a distance, I can give it a distance. I can also flip it and now do it in the negative Z direction. I can do it symmetrical, where from the X axis and the Y axis, I'm going to do it. Okay, if I pick an inch, it'll be a ½ inch this way and a ½ inch this way. If I make it asymmetric, now I get two different things. So if you notice, this way is 1 inch and this way is a ½ inch. So depending on what we want, we can change that to anything we want. So we're going to just pick the default, which is this one here. Okay, and we're going to make it 0.5 and I'm going to pick OK. So now what I've got is I have a rectangle. Okay, if I go over here to my orbit, you'll see free orbit and I click on it. Okay, and then I drag it around. You'll see that I have a three-dimensional object. Now this is a solid. Okay, we don't have to do anything else to make it a solid. I can right click and pick OK. To go back to my isometric view, I just click on the home button there. Alright, now if I look at my drawing, what I've done so far, see that everything looks fine. Now one of the things I do like to do that I didn't do here, so I can show you how to fix it when you don't do it, is I would like this face here to be right in the center. If I highlight right here, you'll see there's the center point of my drawing. Okay, see it come up. Alright, now if I go to my front view, okay, the center point is off to the right and down too much. Alright, so we're going to fix that. I'm going to go back to my home, which is my isometric. It really doesn't matter where I'm at. Okay, now I'm going to go back, and now what I have to do is I have to fix that sketch that we created. So under extrusion, you'll see a plus there and you'll see sketch 1. Okay, and when you highlight it, you'll see the sketch and you'll see the numbers. Now I'm going to highlight it, right click and pick edit sketch. Now it goes back so that that is the plane that we are working on right now. Now I want this center point here to be 1 inch over this way and 3/4 up. So I can go into dimension and I'll dimension from that point to either end. I'll pick this end, and right now you'll see that mine is 0.267. Now I want it to be half of 2. Now I can just put 1 in there. Okay, and let me just show you, well, I'll show you that later. So I'm just going to pick the 2 and you'll see I get a variable here. that is that number, which is D0 in my case, depending on when you've done it. And I'll do divide it by 2, and I'll pick OK. And you'll see that it gives us the dimension here, okay, that it is 1. Now, the reason to do that is if I go in here now and change this to 3, notice it's still in the center. It's still 1.5 over here. Okay, so if I had made that 1, then it wouldn't have been the right number now. Now go do the same thing under dimension from this point to this end point, and I'll make that half of this number right there. Okay, so now we have this part centered. I'm going to pick finish sketch. Okay, now I want to create a hole right in the center of this. Okay, right on this big surface here. So I'm going to go start a new sketch. Now notice my X, Y, and Z didn't come up now, because what I can do now is start using this object and draw on those planes. So I'm going to pick this plane right here. Okay, it'll flip it around. Okay, say okay, you're in the sketch and I'm in the front view. You'll see yellow lines here. That is because if I take and swing this around a little bit, what it's done is it takes and it projects those lines so that it's on the plane that I'm working on. All right, I'm going to go up to circle. Now, when I create a circle, it wants to know the center point. If I move it to that point, okay, notice it will turn green. Okay, if I do that, that will automatically put it in the exact center. Notice the X and Y coordinates are 0, 0. I'm just going to move it off here a little bit and show you how to do that. So I'm going to click on it. Now when we stretch this out, you'll see that it gives us a diameter. Okay? Inventor automatically defaults to the diameter, not to the radius like it should do, the diameter. Okay, so I can either pick a spot here, then go to dimension, pick the circle, there's my diameter, click on it. Now I can change that to whatever size I want. So if I want to make that 0.75, for example, I'll type in 0.75. Okay, again too, if I want this in the center, a couple of different ways I can do it, but I can pick dimension, and I can pick from this line to that edge and make that 1, and I can pick from the center to this and make it 0.75. Okay, so now I have that right in the center. If I pick finish sketch, now we can extrude now, and if we go to extrude now, notice this time it doesn't pick what to extrude. That's because we can extrude more than one place this time. If I pick out here, okay, notice it will take and it will try to extrude the part not including the hole. That's not what we want, so I'm going to go up here to the X that says clear selections, and I go there. Now if I make sure I pick on the hole, okay, now we have to look over here where it says Boolean. Okay, the first one I have here is called join, and what that's going to do is take that, it's going to extrude it whatever the distance I put in, and it's going to join it to make this one part. I can also pick here to pick cut, which means it's going to cut it away. Notice it's smart enough to know that it has to go in the opposite direction to cut it away. The next one is intersect, and what that'll do, and I'm going to pick OK and then I'm going to undo it. But when I pick OK, what that does is that just left the intersection between those two parts. Okay, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to pick extrude again. I'm going to pick the circle. Okay, the last one would make a new solid. So instead of joining it and having one face here or one object, it would make two out of it. So I'm going to pick cut. All right, now I want to cut through. I can pick up here and I go through everything. Or I can pick a distance, or I can pick to a specific spot or to the next face that it runs into. So I can pick through all here and pick OK. All right, again, okay, if you take and hold your shift button down and then click on the middle mouse wheel, you can take and you can rotate this guy around any way you want. Okay. To get back to that isometric view, I just click on my home tab right there. I just opened up a new drawing, just took that one away, made a new drawing here. Okay, I'm going to pick a new sketch. I'm going to go to the XY plane. I'm going to go to rectangle and I'm going to go to polygon, and I'm going to make 3 sides. I'm going to make a triangle. Okay, and I'm going to pick a spot and I'm just going to drag it. Pick done. So I have a triangle right here. Okay, and now that we drew a triangle, we're going to talk about circles. Okay, we drew one circle, and the one way to draw a circle is through the center point. Again, I pick through a center point, I pick anywhere. Okay, so I drag it out, whatever the diameter I want to be, and I can click there. If you click down the pull down menu, you'll notice that you also have the circle tangent. And what that allows me to do is pick tangent lines. So I can pick here, here, and here, and it will draw a circle tangent to all those. I can draw, if I go to line and draw a line, and when I get to the end, click and hold it, and then move my cursor. Now I'm holding the right button or left button down. Okay, it'll make a arc out of it. So I can make an arc using that. I also have the arc command, and I can make a 3-point arc. So I can pick an arc, a point, then drag it whichever way I want for the 3rd point. I can go to arc and make it tangent. So I can make an arc tangent to here. Notice that'll make it tangent to there. I go along this way. Okay, and I can pick an arc from the center point and pick a spot and then drag it around to where I want it. So that's the way that I can create arcs. All right, now I'm going to look at points. Okay, and points are used to locate areas on a sketch. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm just going to undo this back to nothing again. Okay, I'm going to start a new sketch, and I'm going to click on XY plane, and I'm going to make a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to go up to rectangle. Now rectangles, I can make a 2-point, so I can pick the first point, drag it anywhere I want, and make the 2nd point. I can make 3 points, so I need the first point, the 2nd point, and then the 3rd point, like that. I can pick a center, so if I were making it like our first drawing that we did, I could put it right in the center here, right at our origin, and then drag it both ways from there. Okay, and I can do a 3-point center as well, and do the center point and then 3 points. Draw it that way. So those are the way that I can draw a rectangle. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to undo all those again. Okay, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle, 2 points. And I'm going to draw it here and here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw points. Now what I'm going to do is a point is just a location. So I'm just going to pick a point, and I'm going to pick one here, 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 and here. Now that's just random. Now what I'm going to do is I can define a spline, okay, through those. So I can go here to spline through selected points. I'm going to pick this end point when it turns green, pick that point, that point, that point, that point, that point, and then the end point here. Pick create, and it creates that spline. Okay, with that particular, I have to escape here. I deleted the last drawing that I made, and you can make this drawing right here. Go over an inch, up a half, over a half, up a half, come to where this meets, and you have a nice little L bracket right there. Okay, we're going to take a look at fillets and rounds. Okay, for fillets and rounds, we use the same command. Okay, it's up here and it's fillet. Okay, we pick fillet to ask us for a radius. Okay, and then we pick what lines we want to put that fillet around to. So I can click that line and that line. Now, since that's an outside corner, that's technically called a round. This line and this line, that is a round. Here and here, that's an inside, so that's a fillet. Here and here, that is a round. Here and here, that is a round. Here and here, that is a round. Okay, I close it, and now I have all those radiuses there. Now I'm going to undo that because we can add fillets and rounds after we have an object. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick finish this sketch, and I'm going to extrude it, and I'll extrude it an inch. That's fine. Okay, so I have my little piece here. Now I want to put the fillets and rounds. If I go up here to fillet, you notice that I get a different box. Okay, what I get here is I can do all fillets. Okay, and the only fillet that it would do is here. If I pick all rounds, okay, then it does them all. Or I can pick an edge. So I want to pick this edge, and that edge, and that edge, and that edge. Or I could pick a loop. So I could pick here, and that will do all the way around the complete bottom. All right. So it's pretty easy to make a fillet when you're using it already on a created object. I'm going to undo this back to where there are no more fillets, and we're going to take a look at chamfer. Now chamfer, the same as fillets, can be done either in the 2 view or the 2D view, or here in the 3D view. We'll take a look at the 3D view. So I'll go to chamfer. Now you'll see I have different objects here. Okay, this first one here asks me for a distance. Okay, here is the distance. And what that's going to do is make that distance the same. So if I pick this edge right here, notice I can pick edge or chain. So if I pick this edge right here, it's going to chamfer that. So it came from here to here, 0.125, and from here to here, 0.125. I can also pick here, or I can pick a distance and an angle. Okay, so here, for example, I have 125 thousandths, and I can make this angle, say, 60. Now I pick that edge. Okay, now it wants to know where I'm going to pick, so I can pick that edge and pick it right there. Okay, so now I get my 60° right here. Okay, and my 125 from here to here. Alright, I can also use 2 distances instead. So I can make one distance and make that 0.25. Oh, that might be too big. Okay, and I'll pick this edge. Okay, and there is my ununiform chamfer. So I can make a chamfer that's 45 degrees by just making it one, or I can make it with multiples. Okay, let's go back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this chamfer and I'll pick delete. I'm going to go right pick on this sketch and I'm going to pick delete. Oh, well, let me delete that. I'm going to pick the extrusion and delete. Want to know if I want to do everything? I do. Alright, so now I'm back to a regular part. What I'm going to look at is creating a polygon. So again, I'm going to start a new sketch. I'll go to the XY plane. Okay, I'm going to go up here, and here is polygon. Okay, now depending on what we're making, here is the number of sides. So if I'm making a hexagon, I'll put 6. And now I have two different options here. I can make it inscribed or circumscribed. Now if I pick inscribed, that goes from the point to the point. So if I click this center here, okay, notice it's going to the point. Okay, and pick done. If I click on it again, and this time I pick circumscribed, and that's going from flat to flat. And I pick here, and now notice I'm going to the flat to the flat. Okay, so that is how we create a polygon. Now I'm going to look at text. Okay, if you click on text, okay, you can either pick a spot or you can pick an area that you want to put it in. Okay, you'll see here that we have a way to format the text. Okay, we have things like bullets, and we have numbering. We have left justification, center, right, top justification, middle, bottom. Okay, we have sizes. Here's our fonts that we can do. Here is our size. This is 0.125. Here is our color, bold. Okay, italics, underline, strike through. Okay, so here we can just start typing the text. Now what's going to happen here is if I start typing, this is text, notice that when it gets to the end of that box that I specified, it jumps down. I'm not hitting enter, and it is putting it in that box, and then I pick OK, and now it fits inside that box that I created. Okay. If I want to, I can double click on it, and now I can change anything. If I want to change the font, I need to highlight it all, and let's say that I wanted this to be 240, nice and big. Okay, all right, and if I need to change anything, this is, and then I have this is big text. Okay, I'm going to take it, I'm going to draw an arc over here. I'm just going to pick a spot, draw an arc anywhere I want, something like that. Now I can also use something called geometry text. It's underneath the text. Here's our regular text. Here's geometry text. Okay, I'm going to pick on the geometry. I get a little bit different box where I have an offset distance, I have a direction, okay, and position, whether it's upside down. And I'm just going to put this is geometry text, EXT, and pick OK. Alright, and it will follow that geometry. Okay, if I double click on it, okay, I can change the direction, highlight it, change the direction, now it's going the other way. Okay, and I can change the size, and I can change how far it is from that line. Alright, so that is it for the text. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at making a drawing. Now what I'd like you to do is take a look at this drawing, maybe copy it down or print it out or something, and try to draw that. Okay, give yourself a little time, try to draw it, and then what I'll do is I'll go over how I would draw it, and we'll see how we both do. Alright, we're going to start our drawing. We're going to go into a blank drawing. We're going to make a new sketch. I'm going to go to our XY plane. Okay, I'm going to start at the bottom left hand corner, and I'm going to create a line. I'm going to make it at the origin. I drag it this way, and I'm just going to put 0.5. Now I can put the numbers in if I want, or I could sketch it and change the numbers later. If I know the numbers, I can just put them in now. Okay, I'm going to go up 0.5. I'm going to go to the right 2.5. I'm going to go straight down 0.5, over 0.5. I'm going to go up, make sure I'm 90 degrees, and I'm going to go up 1.5. I'm going to hit enter to finish that command, and then I'm going to draw from this origin again. I'm going to go up 2.5, zoom in a little bit or out a little bit, 90 degrees, I'll go 2, and then I'll just bring it until I get the endpoint right there. Okay, now I can put my circles in here, so I'll go to circle, and I'll just put that anywhere, and those are 0.5. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take from the center of that circle, and you'll see I get a dotted line. That way it'll keep those circles lined up with each other, and I'm going to put 0.5 again. Now I'm going to go into dimension, and I go from this origin to that center. Okay, and that is going to be 1. And then between the two circles, and that is going to be 1.25. And then I'll go from this point to the center, and that is up 1.5. Okay, and there I have my drawing. Pick finish sketch. I'm going to pick extrude, pick the outside. Okay, that is 0.75. Pick OK. Now I just need that fillet up here. I'm going to go into fillet. I'm going to take the default, since it's not on the drawing, of 0.125. I'm going to click that edge, and I'm going to pick OK. Alright, and there I have my drawing. Here is the front view. I go over here to the right view, back to the front. There's my top view. I can pick the home button, and there is my symmetric. Okay, so we made our first drawing.